So we have a lot to talk about, including the late survival of the Eagles versus the Jaguars, how he's slacking at the trade deadline, lots of injury updates, things of that nature. Without further ado, let's fly into it. So first and foremost, the Eagles beat the Jags by 5 points, 28-23. I'm pretty sure. Cooper DeJean, it's a back-to-back game with him making fourth and short plays and whatnot, basically diagnosing, shutting it down, things of that nature. Absolute beast. I think it bodes well for him, things of that nature. AJ Brown, he's out with he left the game with a knee injury. He was back practicing today, according to multiple reports. Bryce Huff has a hand injury. Devontae Smith has a hamstring. I'll go ahead and post the rest of them right there. But Jalen Hurts, he was on rest day. Saquon Barkley was on rest day. So me personally, as long as they play, I don't have a problem with it or whatever. Definitely need to keep the run going, things of that nature. So. Zach Bond, he had 10 tackles and an interception. Absolute beast by him. I knew the interception would come at some point. And if you guys have been watching my videos or however, I did predict, since we signed Zach Bond, because I seen his highlights, I predicted, who knows, maybe he can be a Pro Bowler. Maybe, he could be a lot more than what everybody's saying. Everyone said I was crazy, this, and that, so it looks like I was right about that. Sometimes make it too passionate, but I do know what I'm talking about. Zach Bond proves everyone thought I was crazy. Sometimes, Philly Flyver knows what he's talking about. Nakobe Dean, he obviously had the game-saving interception. Things of that nature. I think that, bodes well for him and his coverage abilities and things of that nature. And I just got to say, I'm going to go into more into detail or however here in a second. But I just got to say that fumble or however call on Saquon or however that he fumbled it, that's absolute BS. I don't care. The ref tried to rig it or have the case just to, keep political or whatever, regardless if you vote for Kamala, regardless if you voted for Kamala, regardless if you voted for Trump. I just think during, that Sunday or however the case may be, I just think they're flooding everything or however. So if somebody was dominating, let's make it closer so more people will watch. Regardless of where you vote. Not my place to say. It's a free country. Vote and vote. I hope you voted for whoever you wanted. Hope you got the result you wanted or however the case. Josh Sweat. He's an absolute beast. He had 2 sacks this game, 5 on the year. Jalen, he was like showing like his football knowledge or however. Talking about cover 2, cover 3, diagnosing or however. So clearly the guy can read a defense or however. I just think it's Nick Sirianni holding the guy back. That's what I've been saying or however the case. Did Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson have some sort of backroom deal, like, hey, hold back so I can keep my job or however, and I'll give you this, or I don't know. But at the end of the day, Nick Sirianni can't keep costing us points. I'm pretty sure he costed us 9 or 12 or however the case versus the Jaguars, and throughout the season, I'm pretty sure he's costed us 20 to 30 points throughout the entire season. Honestly think Jalen played really well. He had a clutch dime to Smitty or however the case. Obviously, there was also a touchdown pass as well, so I'm not saying, that was just a clutch little dot or however. I'm on a different note, because he caught more than the one catch or however the case. But touchdown pass to Saquon Barkley, multiple good reads. It looked like he was reading the defense pretty freaking good. Regardless or however the case, regardless of who you have out there, to make the right decision, however, at the right time, heck yeah. I'm not saying it's game over, whatever the case. I'm not trying to kiss the guy's ass, but I'm just saying he was accurate. He was reading the defense pretty freaking good. You know what I'm saying? He was showing off his leg speed and things of that nature, so I think that bodes well. Saquon, I gotta say it. I know y'all seen that move. I know y'all seen it. So, it's fair to say he's generational. That's fair to say. If y'all didn't know it already, he's generational. 1 touchdown, 159 rushing yards, 5.9 on the average. Obviously, he broke 3 dudes in one play. Spin move, and then he made the first dude miss, and then the last guy, however the case, the backwards hurdle or however, absolutely nasty. Dotson stepped up. He had one 36-yard reception. Crazy freaking catch. I don't think Dropkins or any of our recent wide receiver threes could have made that catch. Just being 100% honest, calling it how I see it. Smitty, he had a clutch touchdown or whatever on his part. We talked about the delivery, the pass, but now let's talk about him catching it. Great awareness, great hands, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. Obviously, it was a great throw by Jalen or whoever, you know, like it was pretty on the money. But Venber Sumer, he's out after like one catch or however the case may be. He looked pretty good at fullback. He caught a pass or however the case. It looked to suit him pretty naturally. He didn't look to struggle or however the case. Going into detail, player grades or however the case, or positional grades, since Jalen Hurts was the only quarterback to play, I'll give him a B-. The only reason being, obviously, you know, there were a couple imperfections. Nobody ever in NFL history has ever had an A++++ game. If you want to nitpick or however the case, you know, if I do it for other teams, I got to do it for us or however. I don't hold no double standards. I have another double standard I do not do, which I'll talk about here in a second. But wide receivers, AJ, I'll give him a D. You know, it looked like he was just because he's jealous or however the case, because Saquon and Smitty or however the case were getting the ball, you know, because, I mean, as soon as he scored the touchdown, I mean, that's when we seen him walk out. Smitty, A+, clutch touchdown, you know what I'm saying, willing to stay in the game, you know what I'm saying. Doesn't seem to have too much of an ego or however the case, unlike some people. AJ Brown. Dotson, rightfully so. This, I know usually it's player grade or however, you're completely right. But he said that they forget sometimes I'm a first-round pick. After that catch, he had every right to say that. He has every right. That level of catch quiz, Dropkins couldn't do that. Most wide receiver threes we've had or however in recent times or however the case couldn't make that catch. That's skill. So this one time, however, if he says it for the next year or whatever, if he says it all year just over that one play, okay, fine. But this one time, I ain't got no problem with it. Oh, they forget him first round pick. A lot of people, oh, he's cocky, blah, 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 blah. If you were really a first round pick, Washington would have kept you if you were that good, blah, blah, blah. Then they can say all that or however the case may be, but when you make a catch like that, you can talk a little bit of shit. I don't care. Tight end, Grant Calcaterra, 5 for 5 for 30 yards. He's definitely stepping up. He has the hands. You know, he's looking like a developing. Not saying he's there yet. I'm not saying they're on the same level, but he's looking like a developing Gronk. You know, obviously, different weaknesses, different strengths, different styles. I'm not saying they're the same person. I'm not saying that you spell the name the same or however the case. All I'm saying is in terms of development, it reminds me. You know what I'm saying? But, so yeah, I'll give Grant Calcaterra an A- or however the case. Because I know, there was, some things or however he could have done a little bit better. So yeah, A-. It's like a 90, 95 or however the case, all things considering expectations and whatnot. Defense, except for Cooper DeJean, Sweat, Nakobe Dean, and Jalen Carter, except for those guys, and Brandon Graham, F. Besides that. I mean, it was like, what, 22 to zip? And they came all the way back? I mean, it's the same defense that let Kirk Cousins and crew all the way up the field in 5 plays with no resistance. It's the same team. They haven't added nobody, haven't traded for nobody, slacked on the deadline. Again, except for Sweat, except for Cooper DeJean, except for Nakobe Dean, except for Quinyon Mitchell, except for Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis is a bust. Everyone else out there is a bust. At the end of the day, Josh Sweat and Jalen Carter need help, but obviously trade deadline's already passed. How he slacked, I'll get into why and details and all that. Things of that nature, but yeah, overall, yeah, everybody except for those guys gets an F. Zach Bond, he's the 7th best linebacker in the NFL. I don't care. I do not care. Check this out. 79 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 interception, one quarterback hurry, 1 forced fumble. Hasn't even been 10 games yet. It hasn't. It hasn't been 10 games. It's a fact. Show me 10 games the Eagles play. We're 6-2. That's 8. That's 8 games. And statistically, in terms of interceptions or however the case may be, and in terms of sacks, things of that nature, I mean, he ranks pretty high in terms of total tackles made. He's up there. You know what I'm saying? So definitely number 7. I don't care. He's at least top 10 in the league officially. Not even just my opinion. That might be considered a hot take. I don't know. As of right now, in my personal opinion, Barkley is the best running back in the league. Now, before you say Henry, he does have more rushing yards. I give you that. 1,000,000,000,000%. And then not to anybody's fault, but let me ask you a very valid question. Do they have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? That's a valid question. It's not like I'm just bringing up scrubs. You know, those are Pro Bowl level players, potential top 10 wide receivers. If you don't have 2 top 10 wide receivers, of course you're going to run the ball a heck of a lot more. But even then, 972 or however the case compared to 1,032 or however, I mean, they're not that far apart. Looking at the eye test, I've seen both of them play. I have nothing against Henry or the Ravens. They're in the AFC. I have nothing against them. But just look at the eye test. Me personally, what I would rather have at running back, in my personal opinion, I don't know. Saquon or however, as of now or however, I don't know. I just like what I'm seeing a little bit more. Could be biased because I'm an Eagles fan. I accept that. But Henry's a great player. You know what I'm saying? It's not because I hate on him or however the case may be. I'm glad he's out of Tennessee. I'm glad he has a chance to do something. Heck yeah. You know? Last hot take or however the case. Smitty, Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts seems to agree or however, because I thought, man, after seeing that or however, I was just like, man, he has to have the best toe tap in the league. And then obviously I was reading, I was going through the interviews or however, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, etc. And Jalen Hurts said that he has the best toe tap in the league. I was like, dang, so it's not just me seeing. It's not just me. You know? And it's not just me seeing, how he's slacking at the deadline as a failure. It is. Next up, my final thoughts. My final thoughts being about the game. Nick Sirianni almost cost us the game. But in no order, shape, or form, or however the case, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Nakobe Dean, Josh Sweat, Cooper DeJean, Fangio. Those are the reasons why we won the game. Nakobe Dean's game-saving interception. DeJean's 4th and 1 stop, or however the case, his tackling ability, things of that nature. Obviously, the turnovers by the linebackers, or however. I also forgot to mention Zach Bond, or however the case, as well as Nakobe Dean, obviously. And obviously Fangio, it's not his fault, in the second half, we're just a completely different team. We can't tackle anymore, forget how to play football. So that's not his fault. First half, they're playing like how they should. Like, hey, you're actually worth some money. You're actually worth what you're getting paid. In the second half, you ain't worth a sack of rocks. Worthless in the second half. And in no order, shape, or form, or however the case, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he was part of the reason, he's given up 4 or 5 tackles in coverage. And then 2 2-point conversions. The 2 2-point conversions in one game. That's all talk, no bite. And then all talk, no bite. That's what it looks like. All bark, no bite. That's what it looks like to me. Maddox, he's washed. Jordan Davis, he's a bust. Huff is garbage. Fred Johnson, he's been giving up sacks like Oprah. I think just last game, he gave up 2 sacks or however. He was literally just standing there. Oh, not even going to grab anybody. Just going to stand here. No. And I'm not even flying. When he went out, I hope him the best. But I was like, shoot, he's garbage anyway. Doesn't really help the team. Doesn't hurt us. He's garbage anyway. Max Sharping's just as good as him. And he got cut. Max Sharping, however, the guy that let Kenny Pickett get sacked 6 times, however, versus the Ravens, I believe. It's the same guy. Same skill level. No pass rush. Only good versus bad teams. I've been debating with people on Facebook about this. And you know what? I'll just do that part now. I'll just take care of that part now. Everyone's saying, oh, we're good as is. We're good. Well, clearly you're blind. Clearly you don't know the sport of football. If you think we're good as is, clearly you don't understand degree of competition. If you're beating up garbage cans, it's not, oh, we're the greatest team of all time. We make fun of Cowboys fans. We all do. Whether it be me or however, other Philadelphia YouTubers, we all make fun of Cowboys fans. Oh, they beat a bad team. They think they're going to win it all. Or however, we're seeing all the posts. Ha, 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 ha. I'm not going to do that. Just because we're beating up on bad teams isn't enough to make me think oh, we're Super Bowl contenders. We're not. We're not. Bryce Huff's a bum. It's 2v4 every single time. Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat. It's 2 versus 4. They're getting double teamed every time. You can't expect a 2-man front. I've never heard of a 2-man front. But the rest of them being bums is basically what it is a 2-man front. Huff's a bum. Everyone else either isn't good enough or a bust. Just like Jordan Davis, a bust. And obviously too many interceptions dropped by Philly. I know we caught 2 yesterday, but those are by linebackers. They're about the corners. There's been opportunities too, right through their hands, just butterfingers. Coaches and whatnot, or however, I completely understand. This is one of those things where they can only control so much, or however, which is why I put Fangio up there. I think he was calling the game good, But I mean, the players just couldn't deliver. I mean, too washed, too old, didn't want to win, or however the case. I mean, just garbage. Because I mean, for me, in my opinion, it's Super Bowl or bust. When you get Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, 3 top 10 guys in their position, 2 top 5 guys. AJ Brown, I cannot name 4 guys better than him. Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. I mean, it's more so just depending on your personal opinion or however. But I mean, those are the only people I'd rank above them: Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill. Those players are fair and square better, regardless or however the case. Those are the only wide receivers I'd take over AJ Brown, if I could have it all my way or however the case. I think our biggest needs are to stop dropping interceptions, having a consistent pass rush. Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, they just need help. But obviously, how we select or however at the trade deadline. I think Nick Sirianni needs to stop being so cocky and stop calling plays, cut Huff and Maddox, add health-based incentives to A.J. Brown's contract, because then maybe stop trying to, fleece, Howie or however the case and actually show up or however, because, 30-something million for only 2.5 games. Howie's getting ripped off. That's a rip-off. I'm just saying. 30-something million for 2 games. It's ridiculous. But, maybe then, he won't be so injury-prone and soft or however, you know what I'm saying? Again, $30 million for 2.5 games. Howie's, he's getting fleeced, kind of. Obviously, the refs suck or however, go more into detail about that now. But before I do, as a matter of fact, there was 50 freaking guys or however the case may be that have over 3 sacks or however the case. I remember I made a video, however, like proof how he's slacking. There's 50 guys with 3+ sacks. I could easily upgrade defensive lines. There is a Darius Smith was one. Obviously, besides the big names, besides Myles Garrett or however the case, there was obviously Khalil Mack or however he was complimenting Fangio, flirting or however the case. We've seen that, throughout the whole season or however the case may be so far. So, it wasn't the fact there wasn't any options. That's just being an apologist. That's just being a kiss ass to Howie. I love my Eagles. I always have, always will. I bleed green. You know what I'm saying? I make these videos because I love my Eagles to get my passion out, because I love my Eagles. You know what I'm saying? I love my Eagles. Please don't get it twisted. I'm just saying we need championships. Not excuses and, we came up short or however. Anything short of a Super Bowl with this level of talent isn't good enough. I'm sorry. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, who's pretty freaking solid backup tight end. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts, solid, respectable NFL quarterback, or however the case may be. At bare freaking minimum, he's a respectable quarterback. Top 5 O-line. I'd go so far as to say top 10, top 8 secondary. And based on how they're playing, the eye test, Zach Bond and Kobe Dean, they're playing like top 10 linebackers. They've had multiple weeks where they've had the highest PFF grade. I'm sorry, it's a fact. I feel like the only thing we need is a consistent pass rusher. But A, how he slacked, and B, anytime I say it, and it's a free country, people can say what they want or have the case be, but I'm just saying that people are just so blind to it or have I love my Eagles, I'm just like, man, I just don't want to win. Oh, we're good as is. No, that's just coping. Cope harder, cope better, however you want to, however the saying goes, because I don't know a lot of the new sayings or whatever the case, cope better, cope stronger, I don't know how to say it or however the case, but yeah, do a better job of coping. That's all it is. How he's slacking. The D-line sucks. If you're facing tomato cans or however, look what happened to the Atlanta Falcons. The last drive. Let's skirt them up the field. Let them up the field. Yep, you get by. It was like Oprah. You get 10 yards. You get 10 yards. It was like Oprah, literally. That's what I saw. And then even then, on top of that, the only real team we faced or however the case was Green Bay. Other than that, 4-2 win teams. Heck yeah, we won. Heck yeah. A win is a win. Heck yeah. But at the end of the day, regular season and all that's not enough. It's not. We need Super Bowls. We came close. We came NFC Championship. Super Bowl appearances, 1-3 in the Super Bowl. How come nobody's talking about that? How come that's meaningful? 1-3 in the Super Bowl. 1-3. It's not like we haven't had the talent. Shady McCoy, throughout the years. I'm not saying these guys have played with each other, but I'm saying throughout the years in general. Shady McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, obviously Michael Vick, A.J. Brown, I'm the biggest possible names. Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. I mean, like, we've had talent throughout the years, whether it be coaching, ownership, or however the case may be. We've always came up short. Except for the one time. However, we've always came up short. Why? Because Howie slacks, or however the case may be, and hires shitty coaching. Either that or overpaced quarterbacks or heavy. But as of right now, I still believe in Jalen Hurts and things of that nature. It's just, the whole thing is just irritating to me. Just how much people are willing to accept garbage and defend garbage. It's like, yeah, we beat on the worst team in the league, which should be expected, when you have generational players in almost every single position. Lane Johnson, generational right tackle, or however the case may be. A.J. Brown, he has potential to be a generational wide receiver. Saquon Barkley, he has the power to be a generational running back. I mean, that's like, I just listed 3 or 4 generational type players. Fair and square. Lane Johnson, Saquon, AJ. I mean, that's 3 easily. I mean, you can even put Devontae Smith up there. You can put Goddard up there despite injuries or however. I mean, you could put those people up. That's valid. But yeah. Essentially, that's my thoughts on it, or however the case. I'm not a kiss ass, or however the case. If something's not clicking or however, I mean, I'm gonna call it how I see it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Heck yeah. But as of right now, the only 2 good defensive linemen we have is Josh Sweat and Jalen Carter. That's what I see. I love my Eagles, always have, always will. But yeah, in terms of the ref suck thing, sorry for rambling about that or however. Eagles had 8 penalties, losing 67 yards. Jags had 4 for 17. So in other words, they were just calling little pick-pack patty whacks on them and actually calling bullshit on us. That's what it looks like. Clearly Saquon was down or however, but again, BS politics regardless. If you're right, left, in between regardless. It was just too much, political pushing or however the case may be. It was like literally 7 to 9 campaign ads every break. I just think they were just trying to make the game closer so more people watch the ads and whatnot and things of that nature. Missed multiple holding, pass interference calls, and even a face mask during the brotherly shove. Like the dude literally had Jalen's face mask like this or however, and it was like pulling. But if it was us, they would have called freaking everything. If we would have breathed on him, we could literally shake the opponent's hand or walk somebody's grandma across the street. Pre-game foul, Jalen, 15 yards back, 1st and 20 or whatever. That's literally how it would be. That's literally how it would be. But then they can hold Jordan Davis and Josh Sweat, which is why they need freaking help. So it's not 2-on-1 the entire freaking time. Even a face mask and then pass interference or however the case on AJ, Devontae, pretty much everybody. Like pretty much everyone holds or does something every freaking play. They don't call it. We breathe on the other opponent, not even actually doing nothing, and then they'll call every single foul in the butt. It's bullshit. But yeah, at this point, people cannot say refs help us, this, that, and the third. People can't say that. I don't want to hear it. After BS freaking fumble or however, and the refs basically trying to give them the game, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, oh, the refs help the Eagles or however the case. They fucked us. I don't want to hear it. So now for the defensive deep dive, as promised. So essentially, we're going to start off with the D-line and linebackers. Jalen Carter, he has 3 sacks. He has 3 sacks or however. He's 5th in pass rush. He's 12th in overall grade. He has 23 pressures, which is 8th. I can't say he's bad. You can't. If he's 8th in the entire league in pressures, he's top 10 at generating pressure. That's what that means, statistically. 30 sacks or however, 14 tackles, 3 quarterback hurries. So, according to PFF and StatMuse, he's the overall 12th best in his position in the NFL. I can see that. I love my Eagles. It's not just, nothing's good enough. If somebody's good, heck yeah, I'll call it. Jordan Davis, he has 1 sack. He's 49th or however the case. 1 sack, 10 tackles. 5 pressures, which is 88th, which means, he can't generate any pressure. He's not, good at that or however. So, kind of a bust. Brandon Graham, 1 sack, 12 tackles, 2 hurries, 1 forced fumble. I didn't really see much on his ranking or however the case. I would assume it's because of snap count or however. Bryce Huff, he has 10 pressures, which is 75th. For $17 million? Trash. Garbage for $17 million. He's 98th. He's the 98th. So in other words, there are 97 better guys that Howie just didn't know what he was doing. He slacked on, he slept, or whatever. He didn't know what he was talking about, basically, in terms of talent acquisition. He knows how to do contracts. He knows how to do negotiations. But in terms of talent acquisitions, there was 97 better guys than he was. He had one good year, however, with pretty good defensive line. However, now that he's actually needed for him to step up, he's a bum. He's worthless. He can only dominate backups or trash competition. Same thing with most of the D-line. Ojimo, he's 76 out of 198. He's 49th in pressures with 10 pressures. He has 1 hurry, 2 solos, 4 tackles. I don't have any problem with him. However, I just think he's just not good enough for however. I mean, just not good enough. Milton Williams, I think he's pretty solid. He's 33rd out of 198, pretty solid. The upper half, or however, and again, he's not making $17 million. I mean, that's a big difference between most of these guys. They're not making $17 million. I mean, I'm just saying, it makes a difference. In terms of expectations of what that player's expected to do. Mel Williams, he has 3 sacks, 10 total tackles, 5 solos, and then 5 assisted. Again, I don't see how people think, that what we have is enough. I don't see. Here's the numbers. It's not opinion. It's numbers. Nothing you can do about it. Nolan Smith, 2.5 sacks, 15 tackles, 1 quarterback hurry. Sorry about that. And that's the thing. That's the thing I have with most of these numbers. He put up the numbers. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, absolutely. But degree of competition matters. If Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson beats up 15-year-old Jake Paul before he starts boxing, you're like, I'm the greatest in the world. Are you going to believe him? No. Regardless if you're an Ali fan or not, I'm going to be like, dude, I like you, Ali. You know what I'm saying? Or Mike Tyson, whatever side you're on. But hey, I mean, the guy's not good enough for you to say you're great. You have good this, good that. You're facing 2-7 teams. The Giants are 2-7. I think the only 2 teams we face that are not 2-7 are the Bengals and the Green Bay Packers. Other than that, I mean, all tomato cans, all bums, and that matters. So I have Zach Bond. I mean, you hear me giving praise to people. I'm being fair. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not blind to the fact that our D-line is not enough. It's not. But yeah, Nolan Smith or however, yeah, and against people of his own competition or however, other first-round picks, he's a bum. Probably a bust. I haven't seen enough. Josh Sweat, absolute freaking beast. He has 5 sacks, had 2 or however versus the Jaguars. 22nd in pass rush. You see, when somebody's good, even the eye test tells you that. 5 sacks, you know what I'm saying? 14 total tackles, 2 hurries, 25 pressures, which is 22nd. I mean, there's at least 2 edges out there, however, so he's in the top half. So, I mean, he's pretty good. And again, 5 sacks. 5. 25 pressures. Not only can he get to the quarterback, he's good at pressure. That's what I'm seeing. I'm sorry, that's the eye test. And again, he's 22nd in pass rush. Jordan Davis and him are the only 2 guys that even have decent ratings in pass rush. That can even get any sort of pressure. They need help. Whoever can't see it, I'm sorry, get glasses, eat some carrots, get your vision fixed, something. It's not enough. Zach Bond, he has 2 sacks, which is 7th for linebackers. He has 50 solo tackles, which is 8th. He's rated 80.1 in coverage, and overall he's rated 73.8. 1 forced fumble, 1 quarterback hurry, 2 sacks, and 1 interception. Sorry, and then on the run he's rated 64 overall or however, but definitely top 8, top 10 linebacker in the league. Nakobe Dean, 58 total tackles, showing improvement in coverage, but mainly his specialty appears to be pass rushing / going for the blitz or however the case may be. He has 2 sacks on the season, so absolutely good to see. Secondarily, talking about the secondary cornerbacks, etc. And we're going over the main guys that see the field the most, the biggest question marks. You have the rookies, the big guys. You know what I'm saying? Cooper DeJean, 13 tackles, half a sack, which is third for cornerbacks, and then he's graded 87.2. So according to PFF, it's not law. It's not law, but for the most part, it's accurate. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's not accurate." Blah, 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 blah. Most of the time, it's just because it doesn't serve your or convenience you. Like for instance, if a Joe Burrow fan or however the case seen Joe Burrow was number one or however, and they've posted on YouTube, they appreciate it then. But then the moment it said that one of the Bengals or however wasn't as good as they thought they were, oh dang, it's trash or however. Most of the time, PFF is pretty accurate, pretty much. But yeah, he's fourth best in third best in sacks, and overall he's fourth out of 201 corners in the NFL. Absolutely true. I have no problem with that. Quinyon Mitchell, he's 21 in solo tackles. He has 21 solo tackles, I'm pretty sure, which is like 18 and 3 or something like that. But anyways, he's fifth in the NFL in pass breakups. So, two pretty locked down corners, or however the case may be, pretty solid grades and things of that nature. Definitely good to see. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, absolute beasts. When the talent is there, people are actually playing like first round picks and playing like their money. I'm going to call it. I love Eagles. Heck yeah, good job. Heck yeah, sincerely. I want nothing but the best. I want nothing but rings for us. You know what I'm saying? Darius Slay, I'm pretty sure he's 70.3 overall, 27 total tackles, 5 assists to 22 solos, and 72.2 coverage grade. So based on PFF, which isn't law or however, but for the most part it's pretty accurate, DeJean is better at covering than Slay. I mean, that's pretty accurate. I don't have a problem with it. That's accurate. As far as I can tell. Brady Blankenship, 41 total tackles, 2 interceptions, which is second positionally. 29 solo tackles, 12 assisted tackles, 73.7 overall, 70.9 in coverage. That's 3 solid people that are in coverage, in my opinion. I like J-Lex Hunt, but honestly, he just needs more time. I'm not going to say nothing bad about him. He looks explosive, he looks good, he just needs more time. He needs more time in the tool bag. It's his first year. But, Nolan Smith, however, it's at least a second or third. Player conclusion, Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat desperately need help. Those guys are the only good players we have on the D-line. Rest are bums, busts, or overpaid contracts. But obviously Howie Slack, or however the case may be. There was 50, 60 better options than what we had, but, he just doesn't want to win. He doesn't care about winning, Rather have draft picks than rings, which I think is a freaking stupid decision. Go for it all now or however, because, what if somebody gets injured down the road or however the case may be? Go for it now while you have the chance. While you have a top 5 O-line, top 10 positionally, top 10 running back, top 10 this and that in the third or however the case. Do it now, not later. Jordan Davis is probably a bust. That's what I'm seeing. He's getting less and less snaps or however. It looks like he's getting demoted or however the case. Linebackers, physical, aggressive, has potential to dominate. Things of that nature. Continue dominating, sustained dominance. Secondary, they look promising. Super high potential as well. Really good to see. It would have been nice if we could have got Justin Simmons or have the case instead of Bradbury at second string safety. But aside from that, I really don't have any, complaints or however. Again, my only issue, the only thing we need, in my opinion, is for Nick Sirianni to stay out the way and one adequate pass rusher. Because in terms of D-line, in terms of guys that can get sacks, if we run a 4-man scheme, the only people that have any chance of getting pressure on the entire team is Josh Sweat and Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter's usually about right here. Josh Sweat's about right here. And let me scoot it over. So, yeah, he's about in the middle. And then Josh Sweat's over here on the side. It's going to be 2 on 4. The right guard, the left guard, the right tackle, the left tackle. That's already 4. Not even the center. How are you guys winning with that? Explain. Comment down below how Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat are supposed to dominate. How? How are they supposed to just carry us with absolute bums around them? Explain. Comment down below. Because again, those are the only guys that can generate any sort of pressure consistently. Those are the only 2 guys. 22 and 25 pressures. Nobody else has anywhere near that high. Top 30 in the league. If it's 2-on-5 every time, because Huff can't do nothing, everybody else is only good versus bad competition, how? And we're going to be going against the Ravens, who have Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers. I'm pretty sure they still have him. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, potentially, if the playoffs go well or however the case, we can face anybody in the AFC. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. And if a 70 sack defense is not enough to beat Patrick Mahomes, what makes you think a 30 sack is going to even get to the Super Bowl? I'm just saying. Look, these are valid questions. So basically, to shorten them up, basically just to do a little shortcut or however, if 30 points and our defense falling apart in the second half was the reason for us winning, it was the reason for us losing the Super Bowl in 22, we're basically setting ourselves up to do the same thing. That's what I'm seeing. We're basically setting ourselves up to, if we do get there, however, if we lose Super Bowl, it's not good enough. Well, what's the point of even going there if you're just going to freaking lose? Win. We need Super Bowls, not rings. I don't care about none of the excuse, none of the, you see, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. We need Super Bowls. When you have Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, or however, it comes down to ownership or however the case in coaching. When you have that much freaking talent. We've seen A.J. Brown produce. We've seen Devontae Smith produce. We've seen Dallas Goedert produce. We've seen Saquon Barkley produce. We've seen Jalen Hurts produce. We've seen all the guys produce. That's 5 guys we've seen produce that we know have skill, ability, clutchness, all that good stuff. They have that. They do. But the defense ain't good enough. Same thing with 2022. That's why they fell apart in the second half. That's why we couldn't beat Atlanta. I'm just saying. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying. I love my Philadelphia Eagles. Always have. Always will. Please don't misconstrue my passion and wanting us to win rings as being a fake fan or needing another franchise or whatever. Those are the most cringiest fans or however the case with people just because they hear something they don't like or whatever the case may be. Find a new fan base. No. I love Jalen Hurts, pause, no diddy. I love Saquon Barkley, pause, no diddy. I love A.J. Brown, pause, no diddy. I love the O-line, pause, no diddy. The only issue is idiotic coaching choices, which everybody can agree. Everybody can agree. And the D-line straight up ain't good enough. That's it. I love my Eagles. I do. The people calling for Jalen, the people saying AJ should get traded or however. I don't think he should get traded. Maybe a couple of incentives in his contract to toughen him up a little bit or however the case so that we can get more games out of him. But at the end of the day, I don't want him gone. I don't want it. The only people I want gone is Darius Slay and James Bradbury and Huff and Maddox. That's it. That's valid. I don't want nothing bad to happen to anybody else. But those 4 players, Darius Slay, Maddox, who are more worried about Fortnite and gaming and being all best friends with other teams and whatnot or however. And Bryce Huff, he's wasted $17 million. He's a waste. He's a waste of money. And then hopefully after this season, Nick Sirianni or however the case. But other than that, there's 53 guys. I don't have a problem with Rick Lovato. I don't have a problem with Van Sumeren. I don't have a problem with anybody on the practice squad. But win, lose, or draw, I love my Philadelphia Eagles. Always have, always will. Thank you guys so much for watching today's extended little episode or however the case. Anything in general. God bless. Philly out. Peace.